I'd like to call to order the regular village board meeting for the village of Shorewood on June the 25th in the year 2019. We'll open up tonight with the public hearing, the annual appropriations ordinance for the village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois, for the fiscal year beginning April 1st in the year 2019 and ending March 31st in the year 2020. I'd like to open up with you right now.
Thank you. Presented tonight is the second read of our appropriations ordinance for our fiscal year that began April the 1st and ends March 31st of 2020. The total appropriation this year is $46,505,749. That amount is an increase over our budget. However, that is just to accommodate anything unforeseen of an emergent nature. So the budget still acts as management's guide and our spending tool. So be happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions for our finance director from the village board tonight? Are there any comments from the public? If not, I'll entertain a motion to close this public hearing.
Second.
Diane, roll call.
Anderson,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
DeBold,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Warren, and Luciano.
Yes.
Public hearing is closed. Open up the meeting. Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You did right.
Diane, roll call, please.
Mayor Chapman,
Here.
Dan Anderson.
Here.
Steve Brockman.
Here.
Clarence DeBold.
Here.
Barb Kirkland.
Here.
Anthony Luciano.
Here.
And Dan Warren.
Let the record show there's a quorum. The village business can be done tonight. I'd like to open up citizens. Are there any citizens that wish to address the village board? Seeing that there's none. I'd like to move on to tonight's consent agenda, which consists of 3 items. Approval of the regular meeting minutes of June the 11th. Approval of accounts payable in the amount of $640,693.20. And finally, approval of a payment in the amount of $15,000 to Sikich for the audit of the village's financial statements for the year ending March 31st, 2019. Are there any items on tonight's consent agenda trustee would like to remove for further review? Are there any questions on the consent? If not, I'm going to entertain a motion to approve the consent.
We'll move. Second.
Diane, roll call, please.
Luciano,
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
DeBold.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
And Anderson.
Yes.
Consent agenda stands approved. Were there any communications to the board, Diane?
No, there's not.
Okay. I have no reports. I have no proclamations. So I'm going to move right into the order of business for tonight. Business item number 1, consideration for approval of an annual appropriations ordinance for the village of Shorewood, Will County, Illinois, for fiscal year beginning April 1st, 2019, and ending March 31st in the year 2020. This is the second read. Ann, if you would again.
It would be my pleasure. This is the second read of the village's appropriations ordinance for our fiscal year that began April the 1st of 2019 and ends March 31st of 2020. The total appropriation for all funds is $46,505,749.
Okay, any questions for Ann?
Nope.
If there are none, I'll entertain a motion to approve the annual appropriations ordinance.
So moved.
Second.
Diane, roll call?
Kirkland.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
DeBold.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
And Luciano.
Yes.
Appropriations ordinance for the Village of Shorewood stands approved.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for all the hard work, okay? Moving on to business item number 2, consideration for authorization for the purchase and payment in the amount of $429,500 for a 2019 Vector 2100i single-engine combination sewer cleaner. Mr. Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. This is probably, or is our most expensive vehicle in our fleet. We're looking to replace our current 2005 VACCON. It's exceeded its average cost-effective life. A couple of years ago, we had looked at rehabilitating that chassis and truck and all the equipment on it, but it was, the value to do that was worth more than the vehicle's current value at the time. The vac truck we use for multiple jobs in the water and the sewer. We also use it for our street department. Basically, it's our Swiss Army knife, so we get a lot of use out of it for almost every type of job we have in our department. Our current vehicle, as I mentioned, has seen its useful life. In addition to some of the things we use the vehicle for, we belong to the CART teams for both Troy and Plainfield, so having a reliable piece of equipment for that is important. We also work with them on confined space training, which benefits both our departments and theirs. This is for $429,500 through the Suburban Purchase Co-op. It was a budgeted item. If you'd like to discuss more, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I'd just like to add that this truck will give us the ability to do a little more work in-house instead of subletting or subcontracting some jobs out. And in turn, it's going to pay back. There'll be some payback on it. It's a lot of money. It's not going to come back in a couple of years, but I would expect most of it to be paid back in probably 4 to 5 years of what the cost is, just in work we could do in-house instead of subletting it out, so.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
I looked at the note that Chris gave in our packet, and as Dan says, it does a lot of work. First impression was, why don't we outsource it? But the fact is, based on what Chris outlined, not only do we use it for a lot of different reasons, we use it for the fire department and other places. So I think it'll be a good investment for the village.
Well, and the thing is, yeah, that's true, but back when we had this first truck purchased, we didn't have the restaurants that we have in town now. Up on 59, for instance, that one line is serviced by all of those restaurants, and that, waste and grease is going somewhere. So, we haven't had any problems yet, but in the future, we could run into troubles with that line, and we need to be able to get in there and take care of it, because, they're not gonna call anybody else but us.
Yeah, we took, last year on Earl and Geneva, we took out several debris bodies full of some grindings along Earl and Geneva, just because of the amount of waste that's in there. So with that, in addition to some of the work we've been doing with RGN, there's definitely a lot of work that needs to be spent on the sanitary sewer.
And
And that's only the sanitary sewer. We also have storm sewers that need some attention, and we also have in front yards a lot of sump lines that we react to all the time.
This truck will not see a lot of sitting around, I don't think, when the weather's right, so. It is a budgeted item. I think it's something that a town this size could use nowadays, so. You know, it's, we talked about it back in February. I'll make a motion to approve purchase of vac truck from Vactor for $429,500.
Second.
Okay, Diane, roll call, please.
DeVold,
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
And Anderson.
Yes.
Make the purchase.
Oh, by the way, that thing won't be in, it'll be ordered, but it probably won't hit our village till sometime in January.
Okay.
Just to clarify, that I believe that motion was for the purchase as well as the payment in an amount not to exceed, correct?
Yeah, that's
Okay. Thank you.
500 under the budget.
Okay, moving on to business item number 3, consideration for approval of ComEd engineering agreement regarding the Lake Michigan water main and payment in the amount of $14,000. Mr. Gray. Okay.
Thank you, Mayor. This is basically summed up as a professional engineering, or it's a service agreement for ComEd. Brian's here if there's some more detailed question, but this has to do with the easement that we're looking at utilizing for the new water main. This is looking at the information we're going to need to give to our cathodic protection company that Burke has on this project for us. So it's a necessary fee to collect all the data required for that.
My question is, I see it's a deposit. Do we have an estimate on what the total cost is going to be?
It is a deposit because they are going to look at the scope that they need to do and provide us with all that information. So there could be a chance that there's a refund, but then there's a chance that that could go over. So we don't have a true number at this point in time. It's similar to professional development fees that we collect here for any engineering services that we provide to a business that's building in town. We're hoping that it'll be in that number, but if they're required to go further and give us more detail, we may have to increase it. That, or if it's sitting on the shelf readily accessible, then maybe it's a little less. We just don't have that answer right now. The agreement would be, though, to allow us to entertain that, so if we do have some extras that we may have to bring back if it exceeds our purchase authority.
Okay. Project we're in on, so I make a motion to approve the ComEd engineering agreement regarding the Lake Michigan water main and payment in the amount of $14,000.
Second.
Diane, roll call, please.
Anderson.
Yes.
Brockman.
Yes.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
DeVold.
Yes.
Okay, number 3's been approved. Moving on to number 4, consideration for approval of a payment in the amount of $1,405 to DeBold Topsoil Trucking for pulverized dirt. Mr. Gray, you can still,
Thank you, Mayor. There have been about, I don't have the actual number yet, but we're over 700 yard restorations. So this year required us to do several purchases of dirt. This is an example of one of the vendors. We also have another vendor that we utilize that I believe is in the bill list. So we've had repairs that are as small as 3 foot in diameter, all the way out to half of the parkway to eliminate the roots and some of the property there. I believe Trustee Anderson, I sent him a letter today that complimented the guys on the work that they had done.
Yep, and I have it here. I was gonna read, I can read it now if you'd like.
Sure, if you
Okay. It's to Chris. I wanted to say thanks. The crews ground the stump, cleaned up the sawdust, and planted grass seed in no time flat while cleaning up behind themselves as they moved along. It was a very organized, professional, and courteous experience. This may be the exception of how to be in the public eye and hit the mark. So, compliments to those crews out there.
Yeah, we were
And that was
doing-
from Mike Mostyn,
Yeah, he was on Cambridge,
Cambridge. Okay.
east side there. The guys have been great. They worked through the weather. They were trying to get everything as situated as well as they could be, and it was hard to get dirt this year. We have 2 vendors. Both of them are $8 a yard. One takes us about an hour and a half to go to, and DeBold topsoil was open first, and he was in town. The only other option we have right now is a Allied, which is about $30 a yard. So the guys did great, though, restoring all those yards.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the bill.
Second. Diane, roll call, please.
Luciano,
Yes.
Warren,
Yes.
DeBold,
Abstain.
Kirkland.
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
and Anderson.
Yes.
The bill's been paid. Moving on to number 5, consideration for approval of the appointment of Mike Kaminsky to the Planning and Zoning Commission for a 2-year term. Known Mike for a long time. I know he's been active at the town center as soon as the first homes came in. And he's had a lot of great ideas that he's come forth with about the area, about the town itself. I find him to be a very straight-up individual, speaks his mind, and hence, I've had him on my list for a long time for planning and zoning, so Mike is with us tonight, but I'd like to turn this over to the Planning and Zoning Chairman to make any further presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. Both Vice Chair Warren and I had a half-hour, 40-minute discussion with Mike after the last planning and zoning meeting, and I do have to be honest, I didn't like how this went down with a man that was on the board for 30 years, but we're moving on, and I think both Vice Chair Warren and I thought it was a good choice, so he's up for approval tonight, and Dan, if you have anything else to say, or
No, that's good.
if there's nothing else, I would make the motion to approve Mike for a 2-year term.
Second.
Okay, Diane, roll call, please.
I'd like to say something before you continue on. Mike sits on the Citizens Advisory Committee as a voting member, and he's been an asset to the committee. And I know he's dedicated and he would do a good job. But as Steve mentioned, I didn't realize that we had a vacancy until recently. And I did have a question on how it was determined to not reapprove or reappoint a person that was on the committee for 15 years. I would just like that explanation. I think Mike would do a great job, but I
Yeah.
would like to know that, how we not approve someone that's been for 15 years. Or
30
better, I don't know
years.
how long he's
Yeah.
been on.
Well,
30
in
years.
some cases, like statements been made, it's time to move on. It's time for a change. Okay? And I've been looking to bring new people from different areas on to planning and zoning. I brought on the last 3 members and get them from all the different areas who I believe have the best outlook for the village, for the future. And I have the right to do that.
I'm not, my question was,
All right.
who has the right to do
I
it? My
just,
question was
I
a
just
simple
explained. it.
question, yeah.
Okay, I just explained it, okay?
So if a person was interested when an opening came up for planning and zoning, how would they know there was an opening and how would they go about getting on there? How does it even work? Because I thought that when there were openings, we, let people know, and then if there were people that were interested, they would come forward.
People have come forward. Mr. Luciano came forward to me when he first arrived in town and wanted to get on the board. I still have his resume, if you call it that, okay? I have everybody who's been on the board, I have a resume from them now in my drawer. And I've got 5 more sitting there on a waiting list. Okay? And Mr. Kaminsky was on the top of that waiting list. So I think it's time for a change. Okay? I think that's the term, right? Okay? So if you would proceed, Diane? Unless anybody else has a comment there?
Anderson,
Yes.
Brockman,
Yes.
Kirkland,
Yes.
DeBold,
Yes.
Warren.
Yes.
Luciano.
Yes.
Unanimous. Mike, welcome aboard. I know you'll be an asset to the village. You always have been, so I think it'd be a bigger asset now, so.
And he's gonna go to combat on July 3rd right away, so.
And you go to Copat.
Yeah.
July 3rd or 13th? I think I saw on the,
July 3rd.
July 3rd? Okay.
Yep, day before the 4th, so.
Wow.
The next day off.
I think it's different on the website, so I just wanted to let you know. Thank you.
Okay,
I have one more question now that it's done. Can he serve in 2 positions? Could he still be on the Citizens Advisory?
I had Deputy Clerk Dolney ask council that, and I thought I emailed that results to you, but maybe I
I
didn't.
know I didn't get anything.
Okay, but
Yeah.
he didn't see any problem with serving on both boards, no.
You're still going to do that? All right.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up, I forgot about that.
All right. So we'll move on to reports. Trustee Anderson, Public Works.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As Chris touched on earlier, the ash tree stump grinding restorations, they're done for the season. Over 700 have been restored. 52 in River Road, the bridge staining is completed. Punch list has been submitted to deconstruction. Did you get that? They changed that sign and went from 40 to 35 to 40? I think they did. but
Yeah, there's a couple of signs still out there, so
If anybody hasn't noticed,
Yeah.
there was a sign out there, eastbound, 40, 35, 40. So it was a little.
Where was this at?
On 52.
Oh.
So anyway, that was I guess whoever hung the signs, wasn't paying much attention. And the bridge staining pillars, did you guys check those out?
Looks good.
They look good.
Looks good.
Did you see how they did that? They were painting each one individually.
Yeah.
So staining them and taping them off.
Nice job.
Yeah. And then the MFT striping's underway. They've got a lot of that done. Should be done by the 4th of July. The major stuff's done. A lot of little stuff's got to be done, like the arrows and some little circumferences and stuff. Westcom Tower is under construction. It's underway. Slow due to weather conditions. The generator's there, on-site generator. So that's Westcom's money, though, not ours. So it's just moving along fine. So and that's all I got.
Okay. Any questions for Trustee Anderson? If not, Trustee Brockman, Planning and Zoning Commission.
Our next meeting will be July 3rd here at the Village Hall. We have one agenda item, the Caldwell Banker sign that was before us earlier in the month, and, or I guess it was last month, and it will be coming back to Planning and Zoning for hopefully our approval. Be presented back to the board then after that. July 3rd, thank you.
Okay, Trustee Kirkland, Parks and Recreation.
Thank you. Summer registration is ongoing, so be sure to look for program deadlines. Make sure if you're registering, you get in before the deadline. Summer camp registration is also ongoing. Check the village website for registration sheet or stop by Suite 102 here in the Village Hall to register. And again, be sure to look at the deadlines for signing up each week. The thing with the deadlines is if you don't register before, things can get canceled or don't move forward because we don't have enough registered. So it's important to keep an eye on the dates. Thank you to everyone that participated and came out for our fishing derby Sunday, June 23rd. We had a great turnout and some big fish caught. The largest fish was 16.5-inch bass. So, yeah. And thank you to all the kite flyers that joined us also on Sunday, the 23rd at Scene East Four Seasons Park. The wind was in our favor, and we had a great turnout for that as well. Next Parks and Rec meeting for us will be July 8th at 7 p.m. here at the Village Hall. Upcoming events, we have Party in the Park this Thursday. It's band night. Wicked Vic, they do 80s and 90s rock and roll and also current hits. 6:30 PM, the band starts in the bounce house and other fun activities. Everything starts at 6:30. And then on Thursday, July 11th, we have the movie, it's a movie night, the Lego Movie 2, 6:30 PM. Again, the fun starts with the DJ and bounce house. However, the movie won't, of course, start until dusk. And that concludes my report.
Thank you.
I have a
Any
que-
questions?
Yeah, I have one on the report we got from Katie and Luke. Canceled programs, I see it's a lot of them, actually. Nobody signing up or just one or two. And a lot of them are, just dead on arrival, it looks like. Has the committee looked into trying to figure out a better way to?
Well, part of that's the time of year, because
Oh.
with school just getting out and summer beginning and everything, that's not unusual for us for
Okay, so that's
that to
kinda
happen,
normal.
yeah. So
I
they
just-
are monitoring it.
Just kind of like, a lot of stuff on there. And I
Yeah.
can't believe there's so many that's not interested.
Yeah.
So, okay,
I think it's just the time of year.
all right.
Okay. And citizens advisories off for the summer.
Since advisory's off for the summer, we'll resume in September. As always, we're always looking for members. We're trying to go about ways on Facebook and different areas to get people to get involved. If the mayor does have a list of people that are interested in getting involved in the village, I think it would be a good start to getting them involved in the Citizens Advisory Committee. If you can forward me some of those names, I'd appreciate it.
Okay.
Or if you can talk to the people.
Okay. That it?
That's it.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to move into executive session for the purchase and the sale of land and personnel to consider the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees.
So moved.
There should be
No action.
no action taken from the executive session, and then we'll convene, we'll go right into the committee of the whole.
All right, so move.
Second.
Diane, roll call, please.
Luciano?
Yes.
Warren? DeBold?
Yes.
Kirkland?
Yes.
Brockman? And Anderson?
Yes.